So Facebook are spending 30 times the entire valuation of the other side every year for the next 10 years because that's how big they think the opportunity for a metaverse is. Alright, good evening ladies and gents. Welcome back to Compound Interesting. In today's video we're going to be discussing Otherside and whether or not it is a good time to be getting into the Yuga Labs Metaverse, which is down about 90% from all-time high. So it minted out, like to actually mint an Otherdeed, cost about $7,800 once you factor in the gas cost that you needed to actually get into the mint. And then the day after it minted out, or that same day, it got up to about anywhere between $15,000 and $20,000. Right now, an Otherdeed is $2,000. So that's a 90% drawdown.
Oh my god! Even though from oh my god!
If you want to see my deep dive analysis on Otherside, I'll link my video up there to see their entire vision, Yuga Labs' entire vision of what they want to do with the Otherside. But basically, it's an interoperable metaverse, meaning anyone can come into the metaverse. You don't need any NFTs. Anyone can bring any NFTs into the metaverse. Anyone can build upon the Otherside, and anyone can take NFTs out of that metaverse. And anyone can build upon it, any companies can build upon it. That's basically the idea, and that's what they want. They want people to come up with the ideas and build out this metaverse, help them along with their imagination and creation. So I wanted to discuss a few factors about the Otherside, whether now is a good time to invest or whether the price will keep falling, because it's been a steady decline for months and months. The team has had no announcements in literally 2 months. Since the 2nd of September, they've announced nothing. Could this mean there's some big announcements coming up? Potentially. We're going to go through that. But for right now, I want to paint a picture for you, the total valuation of the Otherside metaverse, and you can come to your own conclusions whether you think it's under or overvalued. But essentially, if we multiply the number of plots, 100,000 different plots, multiplied by the floor price, $2,000, that equals $200 million. Now, that's the valuation of the Otherside if all the other sides were worth 2,000. But we also have to factor in that there's codas, the little creatures that you can get, and they're going for about $10,000 now. So that would double the total valuation if you include the codas. So that brings you up to $400 million. And let's stick on another $200 million for artifacts, center land plots, chaos lands, other rare resources and stuff like that. So the total valuation of Otherside, it's kind of, obviously it's not entirely accurate, but a kind of a rough approximation is $600 million. So $600 million for Yuga Labs' entire Otherside metaverse. And let's compare that to the cryptocurrency markets, which are down massively right now. But even compared to the cryptocurrency markets, if Otherside was a single cryptocurrency, if it was a coin, $600 million would mean it would be ranked number 83 in the entire cryptocurrency space, which is already down massively. So you can see all the bullshit that's ahead of rank 83. There's loads of crap that's higher than 83. Another reference that might open your mind up a bit is, in my last video I mentioned how Meta or Facebook are building out their own metaverse called Horizon Worlds, I think. And guess how much they're spending on it? Like, this is crazy. They're spending $20 billion per year on their metaverse for the next decade. They're spending $20 billion per year on their metaverse for the next decade. And how much is the entire Otherside worth right now? $600 million. So Facebook are spending 30 times the entire valuation of the Otherside every year for the next 10 years because that's how big they think the opportunity for a metaverse is. If you want to hear more about Facebook's metaverse, I'll leave my video there. So if they're spending that much every single year, if they're willing to invest $200 billion in building out their metaverse, how much do they think it should be worth? Hopefully more than $200 billion. Otherwise, why would you build it? So obviously it's more likely that Facebook builds a metaverse that's worth more than the Otherside. But if they're spending $200 billion and the Otherside is currently worth $600 million, and they think probably their metaverse will be worth more than $200 billion because they're investing so much money into it. If they probably think it's $1 trillion opportunity, but let's just keep it at 200 billion, okay? Just for simplicity. So if Facebook's metaverse is worth $200 billion in the future, maybe it's a flop, but let's just give them that anyway. And Otherside's currently worth 300 million. Is Otherside really worth 300 times less than Facebook's metaverse? Is there any chance that Otherside could become 30 times less valuable or 3 times less valuable, which would be a 10 or a 100x from these prices? Just something to think about if Otherside can be successful whatsoever, or if there's ever going to be another metaverse hype cycle. So it's certainly sitting at a $600 million valuation. If it got to a $6 billion valuation, that would put it at rank number 14 if it was a cryptocurrency, and taking into account that all these cryptocurrencies are down 70 to 80%, especially these lower ones, they're down bigly from their all-time highs. Alright, so we've established that Otherside might not be egregiously overvalued and have an enormous market cap in comparisons to other metaverse projects like Sandbox, Decentraland. Their coins are worth over $1 billion, like 1,200 million. ApeCoin is even worth 1,500 million, so like 3x what the Otherside valuation is just for the coin. So just get a bit of reference, they're all kind of equal valuations. But we've established that maybe it's not egregiously overvalued. But what's to say this team is good? What's to say this team can actually deliver on their promises and create this metaverse that people actually want to use and build upon? So I'll just kind of explain what has worked for me in the past, what have been my best investments of all time. So what has worked for me in the past when it comes to investing is I take a lot of shots, but on my high conviction plays, the obvious plays, I put more money into them. So that's kind of what happened with me with Tesla. The same thing happened with Bitcoin. The same thing happened with Ethereum. The more I researched them, the higher conviction I got, the more money I put in, and the more money I made. Now that doesn't mean that was my best returns in percentage terms. Like I invested in Dogecoin and loads of other shit stuff, but I didn't have hugely high conviction in them. So it was only little $50, $100 here and there. So not life-changing money when I got enormous returns. But the actual not life-changing, but the actual good money I made was from choosing those clear winners. So like Tesla was a clear winner. It was just obvious at that point. Just like in the way Tesla was the obvious choice in the stock markets, and Bitcoin and Ethereum were the obvious choice in the crypto markets. I'm starting to think Yuga Labs is the obvious choice in the Web3 markets or the NFT markets. Like, it might not be the highest return of all time, but it's much less risky than investing in some tiny coin, putting a lot of money in that tiny coin or that penny stock, etc., or this random NFT. You can make good money by having high conviction in the obvious winner. That's what I'm trying to say. And Yuga Labs have a crazy team. Gordon Gonner is a creative genius. Gordon Gonner, or Wiley Aronow, is one of the founders of Yuga Labs, and he came up with the entire thing. He was sick for 10 years or something. He was completely bedbound, spent his entire life in the metaverse, like playing video games and reading fiction books, and he did English literature in college. And yeah, so he just has this crazy imagination. So he came up with the whole universe, all these apes who are just rich from crypto, don't know what to do with themselves, so just set up a yacht club in the swamp. And now they're creating this crazy metaverse MMORPG. And these guys have repeatedly said that they're working around the clock, 14-hour days, non-stop. They haven't taken a break since Bored Ape Yacht Club launched. I think I've listened to every single interview, watched every single interview with the founders and the CEO, Nicole Munoz, and Gordon Gonner was describing how he took a couple of days off and all he could do when he was lying on the beach was think of new ideas for Meebits actually, but basically trying to grow the brand even more. Not even grow the brand, but just coming up with new ideas. And he was in a hotel and he wrote a load of new ideas on just the napkins in the hotel and then sent all those ideas to his creative directors and to, this team of 100 people are now working at Yuga Labs. It's a big team of really intelligent, hard-working and creative people. So Yuga Labs is by far the best team in the Web3 space. They haven't announced anything about Otherside in 2 months. So 2 months ago they released a trailer, which was really cool if you haven't seen it. But it's literally been 2 months where they haven't said a word and they've just been building in the shadows. So something, and they also said in all their recent podcasts and interviews that they would communicate more with their community and have more announcements during the next couple of months and next year as well. And Garga, like I mentioned before, the other Bored Ape Yacht or Yuga Labs founder, he mentioned on an interview with Punk6529 that the Otherside will be open for business in 2023. So next year will be a big year for the Otherside, in my opinion. So they've been completely quiet for months. They said there's going to be announcements soon enough. So when everything is quiet and everyone is shitting on the team for not announcing anything, being super quiet, not telling us anything after having spent so much money on the mint and not really releasing that much yet, or it's been so long since they've done anything. At least if I'm buying now, I know that I'm not buying into some sort of hype. I'm not buying when everyone's going crazy for it. I'm buying when everyone's shitting on it and no one cares about it. So right now sitting at like 1.3 Ethereum, I think it probably will go lower. I've no idea, but I think like the 1 ETH range seems like a very interesting buy point for me anyway. So the way I look at it, if I'm going to be investing my money into the riskiest space in the world, it might as well be with the best team, and the best team is Yuga Labs. So if there's going to be announcements in Q4, if there's going to be probably a new trailer and some more announcements, we'll go through the obelisk, so their roadmap, in a minute. But if there's going to be some sort of announcement or a new trailer, is that going to pump the floor price? Well, let's have a look what happened in September 2nd when they released the last trailer. So here in this chart you can see September 2nd. Did the floor do anything? No, not really. There was this huge spike in average sales price a few days later because someone probably swept a load of codas or swept a load of center land plots. But apart from that, it didn't really do anything for the price. So unfortunately, if you're trying to play off news, going off history, little announcements and trailers don't really do much for the floor price. So the floor price has continued to drop since that last trailer. So just to be aware of that, unfortunately, even if there is an announcement, it might not have much of an effect on the floor price. So what does that mean? That means I, or potentially you, I'm not going to make any decisions for you, potentially have time to DCA or wait for a good opportunity to get a very good plot and a reasonable price. The main things I'm looking at are floor Otherdeeds, because if they get really cheap, it could be an easy one to swipe. It's the most liquid. The other thing I'm looking at buying, I already bought one, is an artifact. So next in the roadmap, there's the codex, because the first trip is done, and next we have the codex. Learn how to link your lands and more in the Otherside codex, a living document co-written with the Voyagers. So that's probably this year, and then probably next year we have Coda Origins, the decoupling. So this is where codas and artifacts are going to be able to be decoupled from the land plots. So I think that could be a bullish catalyst for codas and artifacts. And I think a lot of people know that this is going to happen for codas, but I don't think a lot of people know that it's also going to happen for artifacts. So that's why I bought an artifact and potentially we'll scoop another one. So realistically, I don't see Otherside moving all too much over the next few months, but potentially next year when the Otherside is released, there could be some price action movements. But for the floor price of Otherside to really start moving, we're going to need to see some new entrants into the NFT and Web3 space, and I don't really see that happening for years to come. Unfortunately, I think it's going to take at least a year, if not 2 or 3 years, for new entrants to come into the NFT space, because that's new money coming in is what really can impact the floor price. And when the macro outlook doesn't look too great, we're in a recession probably for the next year or so, there's probably not going to be too much interest in JPEGs when people can't even, keep themselves warm. Nevertheless, Otherside over the next 5 to 10 years starts to become very interesting at these valuations. 600 million at 1.2 Ethereum. I'd see it getting down to 1 Ethereum maybe. At the very worst, I could see it getting down to 0.5 Ethereum. I'd say that would be crazy if everything went to absolute shit. It could go there. But anywhere around these prices, when you kind of think that Otherside could get to $6 billion, $60 billion, $600 billion. Okay, maybe not quite 1000x, but getting to $60 billion if everything goes to plan over the next 5 to 10 years, entirely possible. So right now, if I'm investing in Otherside, it kind of seems like I'm catching a falling knife because the price just keeps trending lower and lower. But the way I think about it is, if I'm going to be risking my money in Web3 or the NFT space, like the riskiest space in the whole world that you could invest in, then it might as well be with the best team. Like, you're taking enough risk by investing in Web3 in the NFT space. It might as well be with the best team with the biggest opportunity. And that's probably, in my opinion, that's Otherside. If you enjoyed the video, hugely appreciate it if you could smash the thumbs up button. Hit the notification bell if you're new, because if you like my videos, you won't be recommended them in your recommended feed because I'm such a small channel. So hit that notification bell if you actually do enjoy my videos. Thank you so much for watching. Cheers.